So today we're going to be talking about two-point perspective, and I brought this little example, this cube that I have, because when we're working on one-point perspective, basically we have one plane that is in front of us, whether it's on top, on the horizon line, or at the bottom. We have the sides always actually converging into one point, hence the term one-point perspective. What happens when we have an angle? And if you can see here on this cube that I'm holding on my hand, even though of course we know that these are completely parallel to one another, but when we see them, our eye actually tends to merge these edges, and in this case, again, when we have a corner in front of us, they're going to converge into two vanishing points instead of one. Hence, we're going to be studying today how to represent a cube or different geometrical shapes on a flat surface utilizing two-point perspective. So for that, I'd like for you to draw your 4 rectangles on a Bristol paper. You're going to do, each rectangle is going to be 3.5 by 8. You already did that for one-point perspective. Now, you're going to establish your horizon line at different levels, of course, and you're going to actually mark 2 vanishing points. Just for the example, I'm going to mark here for this demonstration that, these are vanishing points. So let's see what happens when we have a cube here, and the cube is actually going to converge onto those 2 horizon lines. So we have our top and our bottom edge. Again, let me show the example. And the 2 sides are going to converge onto the respective vanishing point, the ones to the left, and of course the ones to the right. Now we have our cube here, of course, has an end here, and let's say that this side goes right here. Now the trick with two-point perspective is that now this edge is actually going to converge onto the opposite vanishing point. And if it's a solid cube, we're not going to see these lines, but they're important to draw nevertheless. And now the 2 other edges or axes of the cube, the ones on the left, are going to converge onto the vanishing point to the right. Okay, so now it looks like a very complex cube, but it really isn't. And then I can take my small ruler here and draw for you guys the visible edges of, in this case, this cube. You're going to do this 3 times on the first assignment. You're going to do it once on the horizon line, and then you're going to draw a cube on top of the horizon line and one in the bottom. I'm not sure if you can see them very well on my camera. So that will be the outer areas. However, if not, if you can't see the horizon line here on the back, or if it was a transparent cube, you would see there are the visible edges. So I hope that makes it a little bit more clear. What happens when we do it, when we draw a cube here in the bottom? We're going to use again the same vanishing points. You don't need to mark VPs. Please don't mark, triangle or box or cubes on your work. And again, remember to keep it rather clean. So what's interesting is that when we have a cube under the horizon line, we're going to see the top part. And when we have the cube on top, then we see the bottom. And make this one just like a slightly smaller, not quite a cube. A rectangular prism here. Now the opposite edges are going to converge. And if I use my trusted Micron or fine tip Sharpie, I can actually go over the visible edges of it. You can think about making it transparent, or you can make it solid. Oh, need a little accident in there, that's okay. Okay, so we can do also another cube or box on top of it, and now we're going to see the bottom. So think about the cube. Again, we have the edge in front of us. If this will be on the horizon line on top of it, we will see if it's under the horizon line, we would see the top. If it's over, we would see the bottom face. You guys get the idea. Now, you're going to do the same thing, the same approach for a triangle, in this case. And you're going to work with a triangle below the horizon line, on the horizon line, and on top. I'm going to do the same for a hexagon. In my previous video, I explained how to create a hexagon. And then you're going to create a 5-point star. So the star is basically very simple. The star, we're going to actually utilize one of the edges of the star. It's almost like we're flipping it completely. So you guys know how to work from a triangle to a pyramid, and from a hexagon to a rectangular prism, or to a hexagon prism, and now we're going to be working with a star. And for a star, again, we have our edge, and we're going to determine our vanishing points. Remember, I'm using a rather soft 4B pencil just to add a little bit of contrast to this work, but I'd like for you to utilize a 2H or a firmer pencil so that you don't leave, your work is not as dirty, and you can easily clean any kind of dirty smudges that occur when you're working with a softer pencil. All right, so I'm just gonna create a cube. And my cube is going to all, of course, so this is a perfect cube in utilizing 2-point perspective. And now I'm going to create a pentagram right here. So again, very easy. You can actually utilize or create a triangle shape here, right at the center. But you know what, I can use my little transparent ruler here. It doesn't have to be a perfect pentagon. You could actually try working with a pentagon, and remember that all of these edges are actually going to vanish, and they will respect the vanishing points. Okay, and then of course I'm going to unify these two, and now I have my 5-point star on the top and has been projected into 2 points of the perspective. Now this is one side of it. Another side of it. So now let me go ahead and draw it with my Sharpie here, or my fine point marker here. And you guys will get to tell, or you will get to see that this is a perfectly rendered star, and that we're seeing basically the edge of it. Again, I'm trying to mark it several times for you guys to see it. You're going to do 3 stars. You're going to do this one here. Okay, great. You're going to do a star that it's under the horizon line, another one that it's over the horizon line, and another star that it's under the horizon line, like I'm working right here. So again, to start working from a cube that you're going to be working into perspective, into 2-point perspective, and then of course do another one on top of the horizon line. Okay, so I hope this makes it's clear to you. And if we erase, let me see if I'm missing, I think I'm missing a couple of edges here very clearly.